Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Boiling Point Podcast. I am your host, the bad guy, JD, and this is episode 134. I can't believe we're continuing we're up into the 130s now. It's fantastic. Marcus Frederiksen plays us in as he plays us in and out of every episode on the Boiling Point Podcast. Make sure you go check out his music, reverbnation.com/Marcus Frederiksen. And check out the storefront, bonfire.com/store/the Boiling Point Podcast, and pick yourself up some apparel. And I always like to get those plugs in early at some time, so that way we can just focus on the guest, who is the host of two shows. The first being Watts Unplugged, and the second being, and sorry, is it the Pawsome Podcast?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
Pawsome.
I've been thinking about it all day, and I'm like, man, I'm going to miss it. And the Pawsome Podcast, which I can assure you, both of these podcasts are in complete opposite directions of each other. So you should enjoy both of them. They're both on YouTube. Make sure you go check them out. And I will have links to them included in the description of this video. So make sure you go give him a follow and tell him the Boiling Point Podcast sent you. So, Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So you have two shows, and I respect that. I have two brands for everybody. I didn't put myself up when I plugged the storefront because this is the second part of my double header here on this very, very warm Pennsylvania Saturday evening. And so I didn't have time. I wasn't switching shirts for the third or fourth time today because it was hot. So I also have two brands myself, so I respect the two shows thing. It's tough when you have two.
Yeah, I just started a couple months ago, so I'm still trying to figure it all out. I'm new to the whole the podcasting realm, so yeah, I started out with Watts Unplugged, and then the other one was just kind of like spur of the moment. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try something completely, like you said, in a different direction. So it's something that's near and dear to my heart. So it kind of plays into the bigger dream that me and my wife are trying to put together. So,
what is that? What is the dream?
So the long-term big dream is to open a pet rescue, like a 200-acre ranch rescue. We're both very passionate about animals and dogs, and we have 5 dogs ourselves. They're all rescues. We help out local shelters, local fosters. We see there's a big need for animal rescues and stuff like that. And it's like, you know what? I'm down here in Texas, so it's like either go big or go home. So we're like, we want a big rescue. So, and I kind of did kind of a rough draft of what I want the layout to be, all the facilities on it, how it's run, volunteers. It's very it's multifaceted, a lot of different ideas that are involved in trying to put it together. So that's a long-term dream that the Pawsome Podcast is going to be kind of a prelude to that. And I got a lot of friends who have pets, and we have our own pets, and it's like, you know what better yet than to just talk about your pets, the animals, and your dogs, and the ones that have been there through thick and thin.
You're absolutely not wrong. Pets is a great topic for a podcast. People are crazy for pets. Now, I had a dog that I also got from a rescue. He was a miniature pinscher. We got him from a rescue. The owners only kept him for breeding, and he definitely had a big male problem and stuff when we got him. He didn't like any guys at all, including myself, which is surprising. Not surprising. I could say most dogs aren't mean to me, but with a wheelchair, they're either super friendly, like jump up into my lap, lick my feet off, or don't want anything to do with me at all, like run, like go the other direction, stay away from me, kind of thing. Which I get. But we had a problem. My min pin, he didn't like me. He was the first dog that has ever like growled at me and stuff like that. So we had some issues to work out at the beginning, but after that, I always said, I'll never get another pet from like a kennel or like a pet store or well, not like a kennel, but like a pet store. I'm going to get like a rescue or the Humane Society or something like that. Like that's where I'm going to be getting any pets. Not that I'm in a hurry. The next pet I have is likely going to be fish. again, the wheelchair makes it hard to have certain pets. And I know a lot of wheelchair users are going to be like, "What? You don't like dogs?" And it's not. And I'm no, I love dogs, but they require a level of commitment and responsibility that I don't know that I can provide them. And I'm not going to. I see enough animal abuse. That's why I said I would only get it from a rescue or from like the Humane Society or something like that. Now, there's way too much nonsense with animals going on that I don't even want
Yeah.
to put myself into a place where I can't take care of my own pet. Like that's not where I want to be. So until I can do it, I'm not going to. And I encourage anybody out there, if you have the means to take care of a pet, please get one and get it from a rescue or a humane society or something like that. But if you
Yep.
don't think, if you're not sure, if you're not 100% committed to the next 15 to 25 years of taking care of this animal, then please don't, because there's enough people giving animals away or letting them out loose, whatever as it is. Am I right about that?
Oh yeah, it's a big epidemic, and it's been like in Texas. I'm sure it's everywhere, but I know there's a big need for it down here in Texas. Um, my first one I got off of Craigslist back in 2008, 2009. Samantha, or we called her Sam, uh, and all the other ones we got from local rescues. And yeah, but if you can, we'll never buy from like a breeder or any of that ever again. We're gonna always get rescues because um, our oldest Miller, he was at a rescue and he was dropped off by his owner because he couldn't care for him anymore, and he's 10 years old. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't want to get seniors, but so for some reason, he just melted our hearts, and we are like, you know what, we're going to get him. Nobody's probably going to get him. He had all kinds of issues. He was an outside dog chained to a tree most of his life. So him coming here was just kind of an incredible thing. And he's the biggest teddy bear you'd ever meet. I mean, he's a 150
Yeah.
pound King Shepherd, and he is the best. And then all the other ones are all rescues. And one we were fostering for a while, our Gracie, which is actually behind me. Um, we were trying to find her a home, but we worked with the Dallas, Texas German Shepherd Rescue, and we were fostering her. And we had met up with 3 or 4 different people, but she had already kind of bonded with us. So we told the owners, we're like, you know what, we'll just keep her, we'll adopt her. So she just became part of our family. But yeah, it's rescues are difficult sometimes because you don't know their background, their history. Um, some of them didn't get along, some of them do get along. So it's a hit or miss sometimes. But yeah, they're totally worth it because especially they need that love and that care.
And even dogs who have been abused, like the one I got with, like I said, it was a miniature pinscher, and he was also on the older side. He was 8 years old when I got him. And I had him for 7 years, or almost 8. He was almost 16, or he had just turned 16, I think, when he passed. So, like, I had him for 7 or 8 years, and I can assure you they were better years than his first couple. But do you find that when you rescue dogs, even that have abuse, that sometimes they can turn around? Like it only takes the right kind of introduction into the environment and the right time and patience. And some dogs aren't trying to figure out how to word what I'm saying. Like some dogs can turn into, like you said, the big teddy bears. They can be standoffish at first or frightened at first, but can be ultimately some of the biggest lovable dogs.
Oh yeah. Like Grace said behind me, I think she was abused. She's at first when we first got her, she was very skittish around me. She was very docile. If I raised my voice to tell her no or something, she would get down into her crawl position. She was like looking up and make, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But she's really bonded to me now. Me and her, like, we're thick as thin. So it was like, yeah, some of them can really, when they get comfortable with you and they've bonded to you, their real personality starts to come out. Our littlest one, Loki, he's kind of a mix. We got him at 6 months, and I guess the rescue said that he had been in and out of 3 different homes before he was even 6 months old. So by the time we got him, he was kind of rambunctious, kind of all over the place, but now he's a mama's boy now. He's attached to my wife, and that's her little boy. So
So
it's cute that he's come out.
Loki. So is that a Norse god reference or a Marvel Comics reference?
It's more of the Marvel. I mean, it's the same
Really?
character, but we
Okay.
liked it. We liked it because he's kind of mischievous. So we're kind of like, yeah, it kind of fits that persona because Loki was the god of war of mischief. So
Yeah, the God of Mischief, and
yeah.
that's pretty funny because the first episode I did, this like I said, this is Sunday night. I shot a live episode for Mayhem Media. That's why I have the Mayhem Media shirt on, and we were just doing our Marvel series tonight. So
Oh, nice.
we didn't actually talk about Loki specifically, but it's awesome that we're talking about him right now. I'm a big Loki in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I like Tom Hiddleston. He's amazing as
Yeah.
Loki, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a good actor. That was the first time I really seen him in anything or even noticed him. But I was like, yeah, he definitely fits that role really good.
Yeah, he does good. You know, he initially auditioned for Thor.
That's what I heard. Yep.
Yeah. Well, all right, that's enough nerd talk. This is not the right brand for that. So let's get back to you and your dogs and your rescue. So you eventually want to have a rescue. I mean, for now you have what? How many dogs did you say? 9, 7?
We got 5. We got
Oh,
5.
5. Oh wow, I misheard you.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh no, it's all good.
Yeah. So 5 dogs, and so how many? If you had your ultimate, if you had it built, the ultimate goal, you reached it. How many dogs do you think you'll house? What's your
Oh, my. If we have like 200 acres, we're going to probably look at 1,000 dogs at least. I mean, we're
wow? So
that's
you're
kind of why we want. Yeah, we want to get the big ranch. So we
yeah,
want it. And the thing is that there's going to be part of it's going to be an adoption center. So we're going to take in dogs and find homes. But as my oldest right now, Miller, I was inspired to kind of like, you know what? I'm going to have a facility on the property that's going to be a retirement home for older dogs because a lot of people dump off old dogs. They don't
yeah,
want to handle it. They don't want to deal with them.
yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? There's going to be a building called the Miller House, and it's going to be because of Miller, and it's going to be nothing but a very relaxed, fun, great facility for all old dogs. They're going to have care. They're going to be spoiled beyond belief. They're going to live out their golden years in a very nice, safe place. And so, to say there's like 1,000 dogs, there's probably going to be more
Yeah,
because
you're going to take as many as you can get.
yeah, as long as we can handle, as long as we got the
Yeah,
food and the staff and that sort of thing, we'll definitely. That's my goal. So
yeah. Well, I hope that you reach that, and hopefully we'll stay in touch so that you can reach that goal.
oh, for sure, for
So
sure.
that we can maybe help you do something to reach it or whatever, and follow along and stuff. So, so your one podcast, you talk about dogs and pets, which, as I said, I think is a great way to appeal to a lot of different people. I think you're going to get a lot
Yeah.
of viewers on that as you continue to do those episodes too. And then you have the Watts Unplugged podcast. Now, what's that one about?
So initially, that was started because of my own personal journey. Um, Most of my life, I've been in kind of fighting depression, low self worth, self esteem, mental health, that sort of thing. Long story short, my dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's when I was 11. Parents divorced at 17, so I kind of became a caregiver, parent type to my father. So the roles kind of reversed. Um, but yeah, I fought a lot of depression, a lot of anger. And when he passed in 2017, my life kind of switched again, because I spent most of my life just not caring, not pursuing anything, not chasing dreams or goals or anything. I just kind of drifted through life. But I was so angry and pissed off because, the world made my dad sick. And so
Yeah,
it affected me in so many different ways. And so after he passed, I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna try to focus on me finally. I was 44 years old. I have no kids, no nothing. I never had a career. But I was like, I'm going to start pursuing something. And I had been a truck driver for a while, but I never left Washington State because that was my home. That's where my dad was. I never wanted to go anywhere else. I finally was like, I met my wife shortly after my dad passed, and it was kind of like, you know what? This is maybe a sign. And so I got to know my wife. We started dating, and it just kind of rolled in from there. And in 2020, we decided to move to Texas. I was like, you know what? I spent my life in Washington. Time for something different, a new chapter, So I moved down to Texas in 2020. We bought our house in 22. And since then, I've been kind of facing things that I've gone through in my life, realizing different things, how my anger kind of affected the decisions I made through my life. And so I'm starting to recognize all this stuff. And I see a lot of stuff in these men's groups, mental health men's groups. And, there is that part where men don't really talk about their stuff. I think I've gotten to an age where I'm like, you know what? I've actually gone through some stuff. I got some wisdom. I got some past. I got experience. And I'm not ashamed to admit that, I've fought mental health, depression, low self-worth, self-value. I fought with anger all my life. So I got a lot of this stuff. And the idea was like, you know what? If I can tell my story and get it out there and it helps at least one person, then it's worth it. And I think if I can get my story out there to many people, maybe it'll help them make the better decisions if they're, 20, 30 years old. Maybe they won't, resort to anger and chaos. Maybe they see somebody go, hey, you know what? I'm in my 50s now, just starting my life. It's tough. It's tough at my age trying to start living your life for you. I spent my life taking care of my dad and being pissed off at the world. And it's like, now I'm going to start living for me. So, and I've always been shy by nature. So getting on a camera and talking about my life, because I've always been very private, very reserved.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go outside my comfort zone and I'm going to try this. And last year, I tried to make an episode that was about 15 minutes long, but it was just me talking to a camera. That was it. And it took me like 3 months to make a 15-minute episode. And I was like, you know what? This just ain't going to work. So I started talking to my friends. I'm like, hey, you know what? Would you want to do this with me? And one of my buddies, he agreed. And he was going through a rough patch himself. And so we kind of talked through things. We did one 45-minute episode, but long story short, he passed away. That really set me back because it wasn't natural, let's just say.
Yeah.
He had become homeless and he was fighting his own mental illness, mental health issues. And so he went that route, and that really affected me. And I was like, you know what? I really got to do this, not just for myself, but even for him. I lost one of my closest friends to, some dark stuff. And so I'm like, I got to get on it. So I got some other friends together, and I'm like, hey, why don't we just start talking about stuff, mental health, friendships, depression, stuff like that. And so, yeah, I've only done 5 episodes, but that's the main idea behind what's Unplugged. Yesterday, I decided to kind of go in a different direction, and we started talking about just general ideas, general topics. Like we talked about Elon Musk becoming a trillionaire, the TV show The Boys. So I've got kind of 2 different segments. I got kind of the more serious stuff, and then I got kind of pop culture and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Good luck trying. When I started, I had just the one brand, the Boiling Point Podcast, and I tried to do entertainment episodes and stuff, and people were like, "What are you doing? You're talking about, the 2020 election and then in the next or the 2022 midterms, and then in the next episode you're talking about, Power Rangers. That doesn't make any sense." So I did the brand split for that. Not saying that it can't be done, but it is difficult to try and include real world stuff with like pop culture stuff. That's a fine line to balance. But I watched some of both of your shows. You only have one episode up for the Pawsome, right?
Yeah, just one so far.
Yeah, but it wasn't bad. I'm not crazy. Listen, I love when I had pets, I love my pets. Okay. But I am not one of these insane people about their pet. Not I'm not dressing my pets up. They're not getting booties. Like it's you know what I mean? Like I'm not putting a hat on them with at a dinner plate and taking a picture.
Hmm.
That stuff's not gonna happen. So but I liked it. It was still good. It was still good. I like it because it was for the love of the pets. That's what a lot of that is it's about your love for the animals and the pets. And that's what I did like about that. Your watch on
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's like for me, I don't have kids, so my dogs are my kids,
See,
and so that's
I don't have kids either, and I still don't. I never called my. I don't see the correlation. That's just listen to me. And I have if there some of the wrong people in Pennsylvania see this episode, I could be in fear for my life for any. So just want you to know. But I just don't. I don't see the same correlation with that. I have nieces and nephews that I mean, dogs are dogs. They're great. They're dogs. They're there to be your friend. They're there to do a lot of things. They can help a lot of people. They have a lot of different um, things that they can do. And I don't mean that in a way like, oh, if they couldn't do anything, you don't like them. No, I mean like, but they are useful in so many different ways. But I don't see them as children. Like when I had a dog, one time, I'll tell you the story and I might understand it a little bit more. One time I'm walking my miniature pincher. Okay. My he was a little overweight, so 25 pound, 28-pound miniature pincher. Okay. I'm walking him through this trailer park. Coming the other way, there's two kids. They can't be more than 10 years old and they can't weigh more than 60 pounds between the two of them. Walking a 250-pound bull mastiff. As soon as that bull mastiff makes eye, just as soon as he sees us from down the street, all he
yeah,
does is shrugs his shoulders. That all that dog did was shrug his shoulders, and those two kids went flying through the air.
yeah.
And then boom, he was coming right at us, just coming like full on running because he saw us all the way down the street. So it was me
Hmm.
and my miniature pincher, and I was like, I couldn't pick him up, and there's this big dog, so I dropped the leash because I'm like, okay, my dog Toby is his name. He went right up in front. He was ready to he was ready. His ears were back, his teeth were out. He knew what was coming. So I let go of the leash because I didn't want to restrain him and put him at a disadvantage in what was about to happen. but but that's like, and then we like, the dog engaged him, and then I did my best to try and engage the dog who was attacking my dog. But I also like that's what I mean. Like I knew that my dog was there. He was going to stand up there and take the shot, right? So would I have been sad if he would have been eaten? Of course, I would have
Yeah.
been sad. But I'm not like if I had lost like my nephew or my niece. Like that's like the separation there that I see. Like you know what I mean? Like he's a dog. He's part of the family, but he's also there to protect the family.
Hmm.
Sometimes that means just being there to take the first shot. You know what I mean? So at least that's the way I see it as a protector.
No, yeah, it's. I mean, I say my dogs are my kids, but I also realize they are dogs. They are, you know, they're not. I got nieces and nephews too, so there's a big difference, and I can tell the difference. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, they are animals. They are dogs, but I treat them with as much respect and compassion and love as I would my nieces and nephews. So to
And
me,
I'm not
they are like
yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there. And I don't
no,
want
no,
to
no. It's okay.
I don't want to sound like I'm like being this mean person. Of course, I don't want any dogs being mistreated. Of course, you should treat them like part of the family.
Yeah,
It's just that that's what I'm saying. I kind of don't see the correlation there. Like even when I had a dog and I didn't have kids, he wasn't my kid. He was my protector. That's still how I saw him.
yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
No,
it's
yeah, exactly.
yeah, yeah. You still give love to the dog. You still treat him. You feed him. You care for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
some
there are
people go a little too overboard,
yeah,
and
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
But I'm also a big fan of your Watts Unplugged. show, and I think you're right. I've been seeing some of it in Facebook groups and stuff where men and stuff, they're expected to be hard, and they don't let things affect them. Depression doesn't shouldn't affect a guy for whatever kind of reason or whatever. So I that's why I like about your Watts Unplugged show, that you guys talk about that, and brotherhood and friendship. Like, I love all of that you guys are putting on that too. So let me talk to you now. I want to talk to you. You're a new podcaster. So as someone
Yep.
who's been doing this, we're about to end our sixth season in September. We will begin season 7.
Wow. That's awesome.
No, I'm sorry. Our 8th year in September. I think I just did the math right. Oh no, it's our 7th year, man. I'm telling you what. It's the 20. We started in 2020, right? So it's
Okay.
2026, and the first year. Okay, yes, we're ending our 6th. We're ending our 6th season. My arm just fell on me too. We're ending our 6th season, and then in September we'll be getting our 7th season. But
Okay.
talking to a new podcaster, I want to talk to you about, because I experienced some of my own problems when I started my own podcast. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of what you've been experiencing trying to get this started and stuff like that. So what have you found to be your biggest challenge so far in getting this thing started?
Um, it personally, it's just getting in front of a camera and talking, because like I said, I'm a kind of a very reserved, kind of
So
a shy by nature.
so confidence, if I could.
Yeah, that would
And
be a
I
big
get that.
thing.
And I get that. I want everybody to understand. I was lucky. I have a lot of friends and stuff that kind of wanted to do episodes regularly when I first started this, and it wasn't until, I'm not exactly sure when I did my first solo episode. It was after I had probably had at least 15, but somewhere between 15 and 20. I think. I honestly can't remember. I've done a couple of solo episodes. They are, for anybody who's not a podcaster. May not understand this. Me and Aaron having a conversation is a conversation. He's not relied on to be talking the whole time. He's not relied on to provide the talking points the whole time. It's a conversation. It's back and forth. We go from one point to the next. Maybe something I say makes him think of something, a different talking point that he wants to touch on, and vice versa. When you're doing a solo episode, it is a completely different kind of undertaking. Okay, because there is nothing. There's no one to bounce off of. There's no
Yep.
back and forth. It's just you and the camera. And that's why, I don't know if people see this. When you see a lot of solo stuff, you'll see that it's like chopped up sentences.
Mhm.
Okay. And do you know why that? I don't know if our viewers know that, but the reason that is because they've cut out all of their in between stuff, which when they're trying or when they're trying to figure out what's next, and then they go through and they
Yeah.
talk about. Okay, so when I shot episodes, I did not do any of that. I had to do I shot it straight through. Granted, my first solo episode, I probably restarted 5 times. I don't think I made it more than 5 minutes into my first solo episode, and I was restarting it. I had to restart it 5 times. Just the opening.
That was me.
Yeah, just doing the opening of a solo episode had me. I was like, okay, no, I don't even know what I'm saying. Like I reached the point where I was like, I actually stopped for like 15 minutes. I'm like, nope, take a break, start again. And once you get into it, the time can go by quicker. Especially what I found is with solo episodes, you really need to almost script it out more when you're by yourself than if you have somebody else. When I'm with somebody else, I'll maybe make an outline or something like that. But when I'm by myself, I need to have a certain length of that page needs to be my outline for me to be able to go 20, 30 minutes by myself. Like I figured out after 5 or 6 solo episodes, finally, how long my outline needed to be for me to reach a reasonable time. Because the first time I even shot, I think if you go look at my first solo episodes, it's like 11 minutes. It's 12 and a half minutes, I think, but that's with the intro and the outro. So if you take that out, I think it's less than 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying there. And I think confidence does come in for that. Once you get more confidence, then you're okay with being alone in front of the camera. Because like I said, especially with the planning stage, that's what helped me get more confident, was knowing this is the next thing I'm talking about. This is the next thing I'm talking about, and so forth. So all right, let's talk about the tech side though. And that includes social media and stuff. What's been your biggest challenge on the technical side, whether it's equipment or trying to um, do something on social media or on your YouTube channel, or figuring that out? What's been your toughest challenge on the technical side of it?
It's learning about the cameras, and I learned a little bit about StreamYard. Sometimes they compress when they don't get a strong signal, and that can kind of change the the visual. Because you'll start blurring out.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning. I mean, I live out in the country, so we have nothing but Wi-Fi, and so we don't have any kind of fiber optic, which they're supposed to be bringing it out here, but hopefully sometime. That's why I'm on my phone this time,
Yeah.
because like it's got better processors, it's better imaging, it's a lot better than the $30 webcam and a $20 mic. So
I mean,
um,
looking at your shows, I don't know. I think your camera doesn't look so bad. I mean, I have a cheap camera. And your camera doesn't look bad. I don't think your camera is a problem. But one of my challenges, and I didn't mean to cut you off there. One of
oh
my
no,
challenges,
you're good, man.
one of my challenges was audio. Was figuring out audio, and because I bought a desktop mic because I knew I didn't want a webcam mic. I wanted a mic that I could have close to me.
Yeah.
And it must have taken me 2 or 3 episodes to figure out that I had to set up, like I had to make the computer recognize my mic. Of course, the computer recognized my mic was plugged in, but none of my software was recognizing that this is the mic I should be using, not the one on my webcam. Even StreamYard sometimes still gets confused about which mic I'm supposed to be using.
Yeah,
So,
and like you had messaged me earlier about the audio thing, and that's I didn't know how to change it and not use the webcam, but you actually use like a real mic, and that took like I think it was only episode 5 where I actually clicked on the real mic. Otherwise, it kept using default to the webcam mic. So yeah, I wasn't happy with the audio on those, but it's also I'm trying not to be hard on myself, and I'm like, you know what?
absolutely.
I'm kind of doing this for fun, and I'm just kind of feeling it out. I'm kind of learning as I go. So, even Joe Rogan or whoever,
Oh yeah.
wherever they started at the bottom. They learned, and as they progressed, things got better. Cameras got better, mics got better. Lighting is another thing that I'm learning.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
me too. As you can see, I have no front light on me right now. It's very dark outside here. I'm working on getting lights. My whole setup changed when I had to move. So now I don't have any lights that sit in front of me to give me front lighting in my new office space. So I need to go finally get myself some desk lamps or something to give me some forward lighting. So
Yeah,
I've been
I've got one desk lamp that's right up above me on the kind of right above my monitors and
yeah, your
stuff.
lights
That's the only thing.
Your
Yeah,
light's good. Yeah, that's all you need, right? Your light's good. That's what I'm saying, and
yeah.
that's why my face is dark, because my light is up over my head and it's behind me. Whereas if in the previous place that I lived, it was more. I had front lighting coming at me. I had a lot of
Oh
space.
yeah, yeah,
I had a lot of
yeah.
space. I could put lamps and stuff in front that just gave me a lot of front lighting. But now I'm in a different spot. I have to get myself some desk lamps. So lighting is always, yeah. That's one of the things. That was one of the things that I didn't notice at first. I wasn't paying attention to at first was lighting. I did not care what my lighting looked like. My biggest concern was always the audio first and
Hmm.
foremost. People can't hear you. Why are they going to keep it on? And the second
Yeah.
was, anytime there was video. I didn't want there to be any video issues or anything like that. So those were always, and I never thought about lighting. Wasn't until someone pointed out to me that like they're like, "Yo, your face is dark," and I'm like, "You're right, it is." So it's even now I'm still figuring some of that stuff out. And the biggest advice that I can give you is exactly what you were already saying, that everybody started somewhere. We all had to
Hmm.
start. We all had to start somewhere, and you have to learn those lessons. You can't learn every lesson from someone else. You have to learn some of those lessons on your own. And
Oh yeah. Yep.
the biggest piece of advice I can give you is don't ever listen to people that don't like your show or don't like what you're doing, because they're not offering anything constructive to you. So don't ever pay attention to anything negative. Not when you're, constructive criticism from people you trust can be fine if you take it with a grain of salt, but don't let especially nonsense people out there in social media land. Don't ever let haters discourage from what you're doing, because you're just figuring it out and you're learning on the go. And if you looked at the first 10 episodes of the Boiling Point podcast and then rewatch this episode when I release it, it's going to look like two different shows. I can assure you of that. The first 10 episodes are abysmal. They're abysmal. I leave them up there so that people can see how I've crafted, how I've shaped my own craft. I leave them up there so you can see how far the show has come.
Well, yeah, there's I'm sure anybody in the podcast space knows the Hodge twins. They were kind of a thing. I was like, you know what? If you look at some of their earliest videos, they were in a bathroom with their cell phone just talking. But now you look at them, they're at the top of the list, but there's a stark difference between when they started as to where they are now. And it's all a journey. And there's always going to be people that like it, and there's always going to be people that hate it. And I've learned, especially at my age, I'm like, I just don't pay any attention to the negative people. I used to engage in them years ago. That was part of my anger things.
Yeah.
I would engage in people. I would start to try to pick fights with them and belittle them and talk down to them. But as I gotten older and I started learning more about what fueled my anger, I started getting out of all the news groups. I started getting out of all the other groups that were just nothing but negative. Yeah. And if I made a comment and somebody started trying to pick a fight, I block them now. I'm just like, I'm done with it. I'm not going to deal with it. It's too much, because at the end of the day, it's not going to change anybody's mind. You're going to get more agitated by it. They're probably going to be just as agitated. You're not going to change their mind. So it's like, it's just going to be a back and forth. And it's like, what, at the end of the day, what is it? What did you solve? So I just, without the headache, I block them, I hide them, I just do whatever. I'm just like, I'm done. I'm not going to engage.
That's exactly what you should do with haters. I, on the other hand, like to leave them for a little bit and have a little fun. But that's because it draws more attention to my content. So I'm okay with it to a degree. I have rules on my page. You can insult me or come after me for whatever you want or whatever I believe in. That's fine. I don't care. You don't get to attack other commenters, other followers of the page. You don't get to attack them. You don't get to attack any of my team members. Okay, I don't tolerate that. And you don't get to come after me because I'm in a wheelchair. I don't tolerate that either. So you can come after me for whatever I believe in or whatever I say or think. That's fine. But you don't come after me for being in a wheelchair or for attacking other people or my team members. I don't tolerate those three things are a no-go. If that happens, you're blocked. I don't even usually, like with those people, I don't even play around. I don't even try and use them to draw more attention. I'm just like, nope, axed.
Yeah, I mean, I like a back and forth, but if it's childish, I'm not going to engage in it. But if it's, if they say something, I'll be like, you know what? Okay, let's have a discussion. Let's talk about this. Or like you said, I am protective of my family and friends and other people. If there's a guy that's out there and being a bully, well, I might say something. Yeah, I'm not scared of saying stuff.
Yeah.
If it goes too dirty, I'm just like, all right, you're done. I'm done. Exactly. I'm not going to play this game.
I use it to my advantage as much as I can to draw people attention to it. But if it crosses a certain line, then that's it. You're blocked. You're blocked. Comments deleted. Conversations over. I don't let it degrade into something that's hostile or hateful and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's just.
You want to debate? That's fine. Leave a comment. You disagree? That's okay. But yeah, we're not going into just full blown hate. Though I do tend to bring it out in people.
And I used to engage in it pretty well, especially back in 2016 when it got into the presidential stuff, and there's such a divide right now. I would dive right into it, but that was part of my anger. I engaged because it was kind of letting me vent and kind of be an asshole and just be aggressive. I was that person. I never backed down from any kind of comment, and I'd comment on everything and call people names. But yeah,
You were a troll.
I was a troll. I completely admit it. I was out there, and I was being a drama queen.
The best thing about being a troll, though, is that once you're no longer a troll, then you know how to be the anti-troll.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. Like, that's what I was saying. I use trolls. I know what motivates them, because it's the same thing that motivated me. I grew up in the 90s when AOL Instant Messenger, when AOL, and then it was AIM, it was all chat rooms and stuff. So I was a complete troll for several years online at the beginning of the internet explosion. Okay. But that's given me power now. Now I know what makes them tick. Now I can say a couple of things, let them go off the handle, draw a bunch more attention to it, and then just walk away and ignore them. Just turn off notifications. I walk away, because that's what drives them. If you say something, and then if they engage with you, and then you engage back, and you have one thing to say, and then you just walk away, it drives them nuts.
Yep.
And sometimes you can call it a flaw if you want, but sometimes I can't resist that. That's something that I can't resist. I can't resist triggering them and then just turning off notifications and then turning on television.
Yeah, I will admit, sometimes it's a little fun to kind of trigger, because it's such easy targets, and it's so easy to rattle their cage. And sometimes it's like, you know what, just I'll say something and just see them snap, and I'm just like, and like you, I start turning off the notification. They're trying to get a rise out of me, and I'm just like, you're boring. So
yeah, I'm watching football. I'm watching AEW right now. So
that's
wrestling. I don't know if you're a fan of wrestling.
I was in the 80s and 90s. That was my time when I loved wrestling. And
WCW
after the 2000, so I started out with WWF, and when I wasn't as big of a fan with WCW until the Outsiders went to WCW, and then it exploded, and I was like, everybody started jumping ship and going over to WCW, and I'm like, okay, that's where it's at. And for, I think, 84 weeks, WCW outranked viewership on WWF. So I was like, but I loved both of them because I had favorites in both. But it was just, that was the best time to be into pro wrestling. I was just like, that was the best sports entertainment ever. And me and my buddies we were just all glued to the TV. What are they going to do now? Yeah. Who's going to be Churn? Who's going to be the black and white? Who's going to be red and black? And the Wolf Pack. And it was, I loved it.
Yeah. I was that's when I grew up during the late 80s watching wrestling, and then in the early 90s. I was always a WCW guy. I've never been a fan of WWE. We're completely off the Boiling Point podcast topic now, but I was never going to they just put on different products, right? Like, I don't hate them. I don't want them to close. I'm just not a fan of the product that they put on television. They are sports entertainment. I like pro wrestling. That was WCW. Yeah. That's the new AEW. If you like WCW, I encourage you to try and see if you can watch any AEW stuff. They have a very WCW feel about them.
No, I think isn't Nash a part of them and stuff?
No, he was with TNA and stuff.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was the other promotion. AEW is only a 6 or 7 year company, almost as long as I've been podcasting, believe it or actually. No correlation though. But they have a very they were back on TBS and TNT the way WCW was. They put on the AEW feel has a very WCW style to it, where it's more about the wrestling and what's happening in the ring than like
backstage.
Like WWE does stuff with their sports entertainment. It's just different products. I'm an AEW.
Yeah. WWE had more drama and backstage and scripts and too many storylines. And then WCW is strictly more just getting out there and bumping heads and kicking butt. So I knew the difference.
Yeah, and that's why but we got totally off on that. So it happens, right? That's what happens when
that's
the episode.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. That's why I like doing podcasts like this, because it's just like, it's free flowing. It doesn't have to be structured. I think it keeps it more authentic and just more real, like two buddies having a conversation, and that's kind of the whole, that's why I love these podcasts.
Yeah. I was thinking I didn't know what brand to use. You've been the first guest where it wasn't clear to me which brand to use. And then when I saw your Watts Unplugged, when I checked your Watts Unplugged stuff out, I'm like, well, that's definitely more on like the Boiling Point podcast side, because the Mayhem Media is supposed to be about like entertainment, TV, movies, sports, or whatever. So, but I had a sense that we'd likely include some entertainment in it anyway. That's why I was so torn. I'm like, oh man, we're probably going to talk about some stuff that would be both, but let's play it safe.
Yeah,
Always put it on the Boiling Point podcast whenever in doubt.
yeah. I mean, I like talking about more serious stuff and like the mental health and stuff. But I love pulp culture. I love music, television, movies. I love talking about that stuff. So it's like, that's why I kind of branched off and have a different segment called My Two Cents.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of it's a short thing that just me and my buddies talk about movies, television, music, all that stuff. So.
Yep, that's why I split the brands. Split them. I don't even know if I said that right. I'm starting to get tired. That's when I split the brands, because I was like, well, I have fun doing the entertainment stuff. Like, to me, I enjoy doing that. But
Yeah.
I don't feel, and I don't know. You don't have to answer this. I believe in God. And I believe that he wants me to keep the Boiling Point podcast going for whatever that reason is. I don't know what that reason is, but I know that he wants me to keep doing it. So I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep working hard to make it a success. But the Mayhem Media side is fun. I enjoy doing it. So that's why I do both brands.
Yeah. So long story short, I did believe in God. I never went to church, but I believed and did all that. Up until after my dad's second attempt to unalive himself, that's when I gave up the whole religion thing. This was in my mid-20s. Yeah, ever since then, I have nothing against religion. I have no problems with people that want to believe. But for me, it's just a very personal thing because of my dad. And that's what affected me. And that's why I gave up. And I just said, you know what? I'm done with the whole believing you. Because there was a lot of years where I prayed, I cried, I begged for my dad to get better. And he just got worse and kept getting worse. And then he tried to remove himself a couple times. And I'm just like, and I was doing it alone because my parents divorced at 17. So I was like, I had no one. And I'm seeing my hero, my dad, being pulled apart by this disease. And I'm like, this can't be right, because I thought God would help him. There's nothing.
Yeah.
And so, and actually one of my buddies, I was going to have a podcast on, it was going to be about religion because he's religious. I'm not. We're just going to kind of go back and forth and talk about all the stuff that I've been through, he's been through. So
I would love to be a part of that episode. If you ever do that episode, I would love to be a part of that episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I don't want to put you on the spot now. So I don't want to be bringing up a bunch of personal stuff on my show right now. So,
all good, man. That's why that's why I kind of started doing these podcasts. Cause I in a sense, I kind of wanted to get my story out there,
Yeah, I think if I can be so bold, I think that of course, I don't know why why your dad experienced what he experienced. The only thing that I always, when I hear stories like that and I see people that kind of lose their faith because of stuff like that, I always go back to the question that I asked Pastor Gavin on a couple episodes. And I always ask, one of the questions we asked, we did a whole segment of an episode on it, is, why do bad things happen to good people?
Yeah.
And his answer, that's what I always go back to, is, in order to become who you were supposed to be, certain things are going to have to happen to shape you into that person that you need to be. So, and of course, I don't know anything about the situation, so I'm not going to comment directly on it, but that's always what I go back to when I hear stuff like that. Why did you have to experience that? Why did your dad have to experience that? I don't have those answers, but clearly whatever you experienced in your life has brought you to put on this show now. Maybe that's why.
Yeah. And, I'm not going to say I mean, if you want to look at it from a different point of view, and I try to be open minded about things, I'm like, you know what? Maybe what my dad through and what I experienced helping him and seeing him be, ripped apart by this disease, and then him ultimately passing. Maybe the reason I'm doing this now is because of that. Maybe by me doing this, maybe it helps other people, and and so I can look at that, and I've got very religious friends, and we've had conversations about this, and I respect everybody's belief and opinions, but the stubborn side of me is still, I had a conversation with my buddy once, and I told him he's very religious and he's one of my good friends. And I said, my stubborn side, the only way that I would ever give praise or believe in God is if he knocked on my front door and he answered one question of why my dad had to go through that. I want to know. And it's my stubborn brain that's just like, I can't get off of that, because he went, and especially the last 3 or 4 days of my dad's life were very dark, and there was stuff that no human should go through, and that's kind of ingrained in my mind. So it's like, there's just so many things I question, and
no, I understand.
Yeah, and I mean, but like I said, I got friends and family that are religious. I have nothing against it. It's just my own personal take on things,
Yeah, no, I understand, and I'm not certainly. I mean, my viewers are probably going like, John, look at John trying to convert people right on the middle of a show.
Oh no, it's all good, man.
Sometimes I can't help it. When I see an opening where I can interject something to, especially a believer or someone who used to be a believer who is not now, if I see a way to try and bring them back, I will try, because because I've done it before with other people too. So. Not saying that I'm like, any kind of anything. It's just that I've had some success, and we don't know each other well yet, Aaron, but we're not done with this conversation yet either. So
no. And the thing is, I recognize the good stuff that religion has and is involved with, and if it makes somebody.
When you're saying you have friends who are religious and you're saying religion, I want to be clear about what we're talking about here, because when I am talking about faith or something, I'm talking about specifically about Christianity and about God, and about Jesus Christ dying on the cross for our sins. That's what I'm talking about. What are you talking about?
Yeah, the same thing. Yeah, to me, I just kind of group it all. I know it may be wrong, but religion, God, faith, Christ, it's all kind of in the same category for me.
When you don't believe, I can see how you can do that. No, and I don't mean that as a slight or anything. I really,
no.
Yeah, I can understand that. Me and Pastor Gavin did an episode where we actually talk about the differences between biblical Christianity, Judaism, and Roman Catholicism. Because a lot of people like to lump it all together, and we did a whole episode and we went over some of the ways that they are the same, and many of the ways that they are different, specifically because of as not just you, but a lot of people use just religion and it's all lumped together. But there are key distinctiveness, differences that I think are important that people should know about. Not that you don't know about it.
No, and I totally admit that I'm not very versed in the differences and stuff, but I am one of those people that just kind of lumps religion and God and all that into one thing, because I don't have the knowledge of it. I do like talking about it as long as it's kind of a civil talking and going back and forth.
Yeah. That's all we do. We don't ever it's never like that. But we're definitely going to be talking some more about that. We're just getting to know each other, Aaron. But I think we're going to be.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
We're going to be friends. We're going to be friends for a while. I suspect. I foresee.
Yeah. I've got friendships that are 40 plus years in the making, and still we talk every week. So yeah, my friends. When I do make friends, they're there for life. So.
All right. Well, at least let's try and become close close colleagues and hopefully friends at some point, because I definitely would like to have more conversations with you, because I think
Oh,
I like having discussions with you. We had a really great discussion just now, and for the last 25, 30 minutes, the first 30 minutes was getting to know you, but the last 30 minutes we've kind of really discussed some things, and I think that we can have some great discussions. So
oh yeah, I completely agree. I'm definitely down for it. I like I said, I've been kind of reserved and kind of recluse for the last 45 years. So this is getting me out of my comfort zone. And I do like interacting with people. I'm down here in Texas kind of by myself with my wife. It's just me and her. So, she's my best friend. But at the same time, I do like talking to other people. I like
yeah,
different perspectives, different ideas, and just the interaction. It's nice and refreshing, and it kind of keeps me like, hey, you know what? I just thought of a new idea, bounce it off somebody, or if I got a different opinion about stuff or different topics, and especially my own journey, I think it's essential to kind of talk to different people that
mhm,
come from different backgrounds. They may have an idea that maybe I haven't thought of that might actually make sense to me and go, hey, that makes sense. Maybe I'll start thinking about
absolutely.
that kind of thing. So,
Yep, absolutely. And I don't know if I was talking to one of my upcoming guests. They were concerned about how long it was going to be or anything, and I just want to let you know. I remember how I told you. I think it was you that wasn't going to take much for us to be able to get talking and stuff. And here we are, 56 minutes into the episode. So uh, you're going to
yeah,
you'll get there too. And how many episodes have you done total? Like what, 6, 7, 8?
I've done five, well, six now on the Watts Unplugged, and then I got one on the Pawsome Podcast. In the Watts Unplugged, the more serious stuff. I mean, I've got 2 or 3 hour conversations with my friends, so they're not short. They're really pretty deep conversations. But the other one, I'm trying to kind of limit to under an hour. My 2 cents, which is just kind of general discussions about anything and everything. So.
Yeah, and I definitely want to have you on again. And like I said, I would be happy to come on your shows anytime. So,
Oh
and in the
yeah.
description,
Well,
and in the description of these videos, we have links to both of his shows so that you can check them out. We shot this on Sunday night, the 20th. You're probably seeing this on a Thursday or Friday night, which is when I'm going to release it.
awesome.
Yeah, and we're gonna have you on again, and I'm gonna look on to some other collaborations with some of my team members and stuff, because I think we're gonna have some real good conversations. So
Oh yeah.
I'm looking
I
I'm looking
agree.
I'm looking forward to it, and I like that you're new to podcasting. I like that I met you and that you're new to podcasting, because I think I understand where you are. I understand.
Hmm.
I understand it. I understand it a lot. Even though our origin story may not be exactly the same, I understand being a new podcaster and the confidence that it takes to do episodes, even with other people, is really can weigh on you. So I'm glad that that we're going to get to know each other and that we've met each other. So I'm hoping that I can help you along the way and give you the confidence, because as soon as you get that figured out, the rest is going to come a lot easier for you. That was my biggest hurdle, was finding the confidence, even on a solo episode, to be able to just take it all the way through. And once that happens, then it doesn't matter. Everything else is easy after that. Once I figured out the
Yeah. Yeah.
once I figured out
Yeah.
the rhythm. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, no. I was going to say, yeah. This is kind of a learning experience for me, is getting to know new people that have actually been in the podcast sphere for a while, and I've done already a couple of them, and I've met some pretty cool people already so far. And it's like, I'm learning as I'm going, so it's definitely, especially for a new podcaster, it's like, these things are very important for me, and they mean a world to me, because it's like, I appreciate it so much. So.
Yeah, and I hope you keep meeting good people in the podcasting world, and many podcasters will want to help you, without asking for something in return, other than a
Yeah.
shout out. So where do I rank in terms of, you said you've been doing a couple of podcasts now. Where do I rank in terms of hosts?
Oh, you're right up there at the top.
All right, excellent. That's the right answer from when you're the guest on someone else's show. So just make sure you answer the same. If anybody else asks you that question, make sure you answer the same exact way. Not me, for like you tell them that it's them, that they rank at the top. Okay, so that's rule number one right there.
All right, sounds good. I'll remember that for sure.
Yeah, all right, absolutely. So we're gonna close this episode out. Thank you, Aaron, and go check out What's Unplugged and the Pawsome Podcast, both on YouTube. The links are available in the description of this video. Marcus Frederiksen is going to play us out. Go check him out, reverbnation.com/Marcus Frederiksen, and check out the storefront, bonfire.com/store/the Boiling Point Podcast, and check out, pick up some apparel, help us along. And of course, leave a comment for Aaron. Go check him out. You can leave a comment on his own page, or you can leave a comment here in case, we could do a Q&A or something like that, and share out the episodes and use your social media power for good, not evil.
Yep.
Until next time, I am your host, the bad guy, JD, and this is not the end, only the beginning.